Meeting of April 10 to order, please. Please stand for the pledge. Ready to begin? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Hutchins, please.
Father, we thank you for this night. We just ask you'll be with us. Just help us to do the city's business for our citizens, Lord. And just ask again that you'll be with Bob. We're glad he's home and that he's recovering. And we just thank you for his recovery. And we just ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Davis.
Present.
Hutchins.
Present.
Candia.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martino. Mayor Kate.
Present. Thank you. Item 5, declaration of conflicts of interest. I don't think we have any this evening. We'll go to item 6, ceremonial matters. And I believe we're good there as well. We'll go to item 7, items from the public, non-agenda items. Any member of the public wish to address the council? Now's the time to do it. Seeing none, we'll go to item 8, consent calendar. A is waive all readings of ordinances and resolutions set by title. B is approval of the warrants. C is approval of the minutes of the March 27, 2012 regular meeting. D is adopt resolution number 2012 next in number, approving the local transportation claim for fiscal year 2011-2012 and authorizing the finance director to execute the claim on behalf of the city of Newman. Council direction.
Make a motion. We accept the consent calendar as read.
Second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll go to item 9, public hearings. A is adopt resolution 2012 next number, resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4. Chief.
Evening, Mayor, council members. Before you tonight is another abatement. Abatement notices were sent to properties, for several properties in accordance with ordinance 95-4, chapter 2, title 8-2-3. This notice informs property owners of their right to a public hearing, which we'll be doing tonight. And the option is anticipated that the property owners will comply. However, that doesn't always happen, and before you tonight is the second time we've abated this property. I'll get to the property in a minute, but this staff report is submitted for council consideration and possible further action. Before you tonight is 1905 Sydney. I think we have 2 pictures. And this is probably 4 months after we cleaned it up last time. So they're just right back at it.
Is it vacant?
It is not vacant.
They're living there with a mess like that?
They are living there with a mess like that.
That's almost unbelievable.
So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of the chief?
Is that a safety issue? Yeah, it could be a fire hazard. Right.
Any questions of the chief? Open the public hearing. Anybody wish to address council regarding this property? Now's the time to do it. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for direction.
Make a motion we adopt resolution number 2012 next number, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
Item B, CDBG approval of the Stanislaus County Annual Action Plan fiscal year 12-13, consolidated plan fiscal year 12-15, and closed 30-day public comment period. Staff.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before you is fiscal years 12-13 and 12-15 Annual Action Plan and Consolidated Plan. The draft version of both plans were released back in February for public comment and review. The goal of each plan is to meet CDBG goals and identify projects for the next year and 3 years, respectively. In order to receive our annual CDBG allocations from HUD, each consortia city must adopt both plans. Therefore, staff recommends that the City Council close the 30-day comment period, conduct a public hearing, and adopt Resolution 2012 next in number approving and recommending approval to the Board of Supervisors of the Annual Action and Consolidated Plans. Happy to answer any questions.
Question of Stephanie.
Steph, I understand that it's back on the chopping block again for next year's budget.
The CDBG program?
CDBG program.
We're an entitlement, so we get our funding directly from HUD. So there has been a decrease in funding, and there's always discussions, but as far as I know, I think we should be okay for next year.
Okay, because from what I understand at the last meeting I went to, this was one of the ones, I realized it comes directly from HUD, but they were going to cut altogether.
That has been a discussion as of the last few years, just with the way the economy's been. But we haven't received formal notice from HUD, so we still have to go through the motions. But at least this way, we're ready to go to receive funding if they continue it.
Okay,
But as far
good.
as I know, we are set to receive this allocation, at least for the next fiscal year.
Any other questions or comments? I'll open the public hearing. Anybody wish to address council? Now's the time to do it. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for direction.
I move that we approve CDBG, approval of Stanislaus County Annual Action Plan, FY 1213, Consolidated Plan FY 1215, and close the 30-day public comment period.
Second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Thanks, Steph. Item 10 is regular business. A, adopt resolution number 2012, next number, awarding a contract for the Phase 3 PQRST/Fresno/Merced/West Avenue Infrastructure and Street Reconstruction Project to Haskell and Haskell Engineering and Construction Services. Garner.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Item for you tonight, as you stated, is the awarding the PQRST Fresno Merced West Avenue Infrastructure Street Reconstruction Project Phase 3 to Haskell and Haskell Engineering and Construction Services for a not-to-exceed amount of $93,000. The City of Newman receives grant funding through the Stanislaus County CDBG Consortium for infrastructure improvements for the income-eligible area bordered by Yolo, N Street, Inyo Avenue, and western city limit known as the PQRSG West Avenue Infrastructure Street Reconstruction Projects. First phase was completed in 2010, and that consisted of the installation of curb and gutter, sidewalks, and related street repairs around the Howard B. Hill Park site. The second phase was completed in 2011, and that consisted of removal of the approximately 47 trees, removal and replacement of curb gutter, sidewalks, and walkways and driveways, and incidental paving on S and T streets. The third phase consists of the removal of half-pipe ramps that are quasi-handicap ramps throughout the older part of town, constructing the new handicap ramps in accordance with ADA standards, and removal and replacement of damaged curb gutter and sidewalks in various locations on PQ and R Street. The city advertised for approximately 3 weeks. Bids were opened and read on April 2nd, 2012. There were a total of 4 qualifying bids for this project. The lowest responsible bidder for the project has been determined to be Haskell and Haskell Engineering and Construction Services Incorporated with a bid amount of $159,718.22. However, available funding for the project is $93,000. Therefore, in order to construct this project, it was necessary to reduce the project to meet the available funding. This also required a little bit of a redesign and removal of the installation of the handicap ramps at the intersection of Tulare and Q Street. This will allow the project to move forward, and the contractor has agreed to these reductions. You do have an amended staff report. The difference in the staff report was just the total reductions. That number is accurate. It was $66,718 to bring the project down to $93,000. Therefore, staff recommends City Council adopt a resolution awarding the bid for the PQRST Fresno Merced West Avenue Infrastructure and Street Reconstruction Project Phase 3 to Haskell and Haskell Engineering Construction Services Incorporated for a not-to-exceed amount of $93,000. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions or comments, Garner?
Garner, I just had one question. Tulare Street and Q Street intersection, removal of the installation of the handicap ramps. Was there a particular reason that you chose those streets?
Those were the most expensive, and in order to bring the project within the $93,000, that one was the biggest chunk of money due to some siphons that also went across the intersection themselves, which were about $20,000. So between the removal of that intersection and those siphons, that brought us down, and then we were able to add in more curb and gutter replacement where we're having some drainage issues. We looked at the other intersection, which was Mariposa and R Street, which was remaining in there. That didn't give us enough of a savings to do that. And we also redesigned some of the intersections. They were looking at putting a cross drain across the intersection that was exposed. We're going to put that underground. That's going to save us some money. So we kind of had to go through a justification on which intersection would give us the most for our money and allow us to do additional curb and gutter.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments? Council direction?
I would move that we adopt resolution number 2012, next in number, awarding the PQRST Fresno Merced West Avenue Infrastructure and Street Reconstruction Project Phase 3 to Haskell and Haskell Engineering and Construction Services for a not-to-exceed amount of $93,000.
I second that.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Garner.
Thank you.
Item 11, our supervisor's not here tonight. We'll go to item 12, items from city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple quick things. A reminder, tomorrow night is the planning committee for the QuestionsComments 125-year celebration. We still don't have a name for that, Dawn. That's why I have to keep saying it. So if anybody's available or would like to, we're starting to break out into subcommittees. We'll have a events and entertainment, a fundraiser one, and I forget what the third one is. There's 3 committees, so if you're interested, please come down tomorrow night at 6 p.m. here at the council chambers, and we can get you on a committee to help with this planning of
The
this event.
assistant director going to be there tomorrow?
Yes.
I'm sure that the director is
I'm
appreciative
sure.
of that.
Yes.
Yes.
On Thursday, we have the oversight board for the Newman successor agency. The oversight board will meet at 3:30 here in the council chambers. Check your agenda. In your packet, we sent those out already. The main goal of this particular meeting, we have 2 goals that we're trying to accomplish. The first goal is we need to select a chairperson and eventually and as well as a vice chair, because we need to submit those names to the state, and we have to get our ROPS, which is our recognized obligation payment schedule, approved by the oversight board so that we can submit it to the auditor controller as well as the state. So fun stuff, and then we'll try to meet about once a month on that one until we get things settled out. So it should take a few months just to work its way through. The mayor and I went yesterday to Hatfield Park. In case people don't know, Hatfield Park is the park that you pass on out past the river on your way to Turlock. It's a state park there. Lots of our community members camp there during the summertime. Access the river there and swim and fish and do lots of things there. The state has decided that they're going to close that park effective January 1st of this particular year. They will be closing this park, which is Hatfield and McConnell Park. McConnell Park is over by Delhi. It's not the one on Lander at the
That's
river there.
Hagerman
That's
Park.
Hagerman Park,
That's
and that's
county
a county park. But there's another one. The mayor was informing me that McConnell is kind of tough to get to if you don't know where it is, but you go through Delhi, and I guess it provides a lot of access there. By the closure of these 2 parks, the state, in all its wisdom, will save $65,000. So they're close to closing that $20 billion budget deficit by saving $65,000.
It's going to cost them several million to close them down.
Yeah. So yeah.
Seriously.
And most of these parks are up in Northern California. If you looked at the map, there's not very many in Southern California that are going to be closed. So I think it's a tragedy that, you know, especially the members of our community that, again, use that for recreational opportunities out there, that they're going to go ahead and close these parks. But keep in mind.
Are there any talks with anybody else to take over those parks?
They actually have an RFP out right now looking for potential third-party vendors, concessionaires, if you will. But those aren't due till May 1st. There is a group, yesterday was the East Merced Resource Conservation District, I believe is what their name was. They're trying to raise the $65,000 to save the park. They're well below that right now. I think they indicate they're in the $10,000 to $12,000 range right now. The mayor and I have had some discussions about potentially the city helping out on that, but they're way below where they even think they need to be. So I don't know that they're going to get there. So
Well, there's also 2 residences on that property where the Rangers at one
Used
time
to, yeah,
lived.
They've been closed for quite a few years.
About 5 or 6 years, I
Yeah.
think.
So it's unfortunate. Hopefully the state will come in and change their mind on that one. So if you're out there in TV land and you do access those parks, I would encourage you to contact your local representatives and let them know that you do not support the closing of these state parks. So And then lastly, there's an ISO report. Basically, what the ISO is a insurance rating agency, and they come in and rate your fire suppression system. Formerly, we were a 3, but under this rating, we're a 5, but we're only like half a point away from being a 4. So we basically, as you can see in my letter, we sent them a letter today, letting them. We had 30 days to notify them that we wanted to put in an improvement implementation plan in. So the fire department is looking at the comments on theirs, and mostly theirs was revolving training. We got dinged a lot of points because we don't have a fire tower in our town that they can train on, even though we have one in Modesto, our smoke room. So, there's just little things like that, a town of 10,000 doesn't have their own fire tower. So, and then we have some water system improvements and things that we need to do, and our public works department's looking at that. So together we'll all put together an improvement plan to submit that off to the ISO, and we have about 6 months to try to implement those changes to get our rating back up. We're comfortable we can get back to a 4, but ultimately our goal will be back to a 3. If you look in your report, what you'll see is the vast majority, the largest number of fire departments actually in California are a 5. So
There were only, I think, 10 ones.
yeah, there were only 10 ones, and we were a 3, and that's pretty high rating if you look at that. So we'll continue to work our way back. Our volunteers do an excellent job in trying to keep things updated. So we'll go with that. And that's all that I had to report tonight.
Any questions or comments, Michael? Thank you. Staff members, Chief?
Good evening again. Just wanted to let you all know that last week we brought back our 2010 Dodge Charger from Modesto Fleet. It was the vehicle that was purchased out of the budget here. It's sitting right back here. I had every intentions to pull it out front tonight, but due to technical difficulties, I couldn't get it out there. So I didn't have the key. It's locked up. So if anybody wants to see it, I'd be more than happy to show it to you. But it's a nice car. Made by all the inside of it was done by Modesto Fleet, who we take our cars to for service. So looks nice. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Questions, comments, Chief? All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Stephanie?
Nothing tonight.
Lou? Garner? Anything else? Moving right along. Vacationer council member Nick?
Nothing tonight.
Don't want to report on your trip?
Well, I can talk about that, sure.
No, thanks. Don?
Nothing.
Roberta?
I don't have anything.
I just had a quick comment. I, along with the city manager and Garner and other staff, went to the scoping meeting from the Calaveras Rock project that's proposed to go out on Stir Road. And I think we had 15 or 20 people here that evening. And I'm very, very concerned over this project, and everybody that was here asked a lot of questions. Unfortunately, the county staff that was here wasn't very well prepared to answer those questions, nor was the company representative. I felt did not do a very good job of representing the project. And I just hope that our local citizens will take note of this project. You're talking 400 to 500 trucks a day coming out of this plant. Not to mention what it's going to do to our water table, the impact it's going to have on our quality of life. I encourage you, and I hope the supervisor was going to be here tonight, because I literally want to put him on the spot and find out what his position is. I would encourage you to call Jim's office at 525-4470 and express your displeasure with this project. And I hope he takes on a vengeance with this project like he has with West Park. This project is not good for our city. I don't think there's a whole lot we can do as a city to stop it, other than voice our opinions, and hopefully people will write letters to the county expressing their concern. I talked to several people that were at that meeting since, and I got to tell you, they're very impressed with our staff and the questions that staff asked and posed to the county employees as well as the company. I think it's imperative that we call Jim and we voice our concerns. again, I don't know what his position is on this plant. I was interested. I found it interesting that, again, the county does not have to follow the same guidelines as cities do. It's not subject to LAFCO review. Jim has been very critical of the cities, i.e. the mayors, for trying to protect ag land. What we think that our city has done a good job putting maps up in our planning areas. He's been very critical of us. But yet, if he supports this project, which is on prime farmland, it's all in orchards, almonds, that will not be returned to its natural state. It's 430 some acres of a rock quarry that's going to be 130 feet deep. And they intend to just walk away from it. And by the way, you can use it as a dam retention, flood retention pond, which is crap. So I just hope that citizens of this community and outlying areas will take exception and call Jim DeMartine at 525-4470 and let him know your displeasure. It's going to be critical. If that plant goes in, 400 to 500 trucks a day will be coming out of that plant. And not to mention, and I asked Garner, what that's going to do to our water table and our water concerns. And it's going to have an impact on it, folks. And geez, we don't need the Corps of Engineers thinking that might be an alternate plan to the North Summit Flood Creek project, because it'll take another 10 years to study that. So, again, I hope that Supervisor was going to be here tonight so we could, get his position on it, and I intend on asking him at our next meeting publicly what his position is. It's an election year, folks. So, and I told that to Jim privately, and I'll tell him publicly. If he supports this project, then he doesn't support Newman, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm concerned with that. So, with that, if there's no other questions or comments?
Just, if it's going into our groundwater, the water board doesn't have any say on it, or?
Well, they're going to go into, they're preparing for an EIR report, which again, even at that, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, the information they have to do that report isn't even accurate at this point.
They're relying on some outdated technical studies. We believe that some of the studies are incomplete because the project description is incomplete. So therefore, how can you do a technical study if you don't know what the entire project is? If the basic bottom line is you have this gravel strata that's a kind of an alluvial plain that's out there, but they're only going to take a piece of it, then they're going to fill it up full of water. Well, as we all know, water will leach out of the gravel mine pit and go downstream. Well, we're downstream, and that's where we pull our groundwater from, as well as the houses along the way between us and them. They'll be pulling their groundwater out of there too. The other piece that the director, Public Works Director, and I were talking about today is by then just having an open pit, then that water is exposed to contaminants that can now infiltrate the groundwater aquifer that, when it was solid ground, that was protected from before. And those contaminants would have a hard time penetrating through the soil and getting in there. But if they're in the water now and they're going through a gravel strata, there's potential that those contaminants could then get leached into the aquifers. So there's a lot of potential out there. They're relying on outdated marketing studies. They didn't consult city staff when they did the traffic analysis, asking us what intersections we thought they should be studying, and so we're going to put them on notice that they're not prepared to move forward, and when they do move forward, we'll be diligent in the review of those technical studies.
Yeah, it's critical that we stay on top of them and not let them get by with anything, and I hope that Stanislaus County holds them to the fire, which I don't think they will. And all the more reason why cities are going into these planning areas is to keep county from putting businesses on our doorsteps. And that's part of the one of the contentions that the cities have taken and the mayors have taken in their planning is we don't want Stanislaus County to keep dictating to us what we do and how we do it. And they can routinely, and they've done it more in the Modesto, Ceres, Turlock areas, where they've taken businesses on the outlying areas of those cities and stuck businesses in there where they collect their tax dollars from them. So part of the planning strategy is to move some of those lines out and to keep Stanislaus County from bullying us. And the point to Jim I wanted to make is, and he's unhappy with this because it's just a prime example of what the county's getting away with.
Well, I guess one of my questions would, not a question, a comment, is how do we, because if it's like most things, people don't know the people other than a select few, don't even know it's happening until it's after it's already happened. How do we get this out? As a city, can we do anything to get this out to a large population of people?
They are at the very initial stage of the environmental process, so every step along the way we'll continue to talk about at our council meetings. We'll talk to our local newspaper to make sure that they continue to run articles and let people understand how big this project is and what kind of impact it's going to have on their quality of life. And so, it's going to take 4 to 6 months probably for them to even get close on their EIR to being complete. So, during the run up of that time, we'll continue to keep this on the front burner, keep it out in front of the public, keep them aware of what's going on. We're pressuring Stanislaus County to put all the information on a website so that we can start directing local residents to that website if they want to take the time to read some of those technical studies. We will be engaging our outside professional staff to review. We have geologists and we have hydrologists and we have lots of different professionals that we use for our work that will also help us review those technical memorandums as well, to make sure that what they're studying and saying in those reports is accurate. So that's basically what we're going to have to do. We're just going to have to be very diligent on it as staff and as the council, and continue to keep it in front of the public.
And I would encourage, I plan on every opportunity to voice my opinion, like at our stand call meetings when I'm there with the 5 supervisors, to express our concern to them as well, because eventually it's going to come to them for a vote, eventually. I just think if you come across a supervisor, whether it be Jim or any of the other ones, express your concerns about this project. And let them know it is not good for the west side, and it's not good for the city of Newman. And the thought of 400 to 500 trucks a day is just mind-boggling to me. And of course, we don't know how many of those trucks are going to come through the city, but I think a large portion of them will. So, and the greater concern is the effect that it's going to have on our water and our quality of life, and that was the point I made at the scoping meeting. So, so the quality of life that we enjoy here could be, that project could be very detrimental to what we enjoy.
Is there any way, Michael, that we can get on our website a Google Earth or something like that to show where the site is so that people can actually go on and see it?
Yeah, that's probably an
because
excellent
envisioning
idea.
it is is difficult unless you know exactly where it's sitting.
That's a great idea. Why don't you give staff just a little bit of time, and maybe we can put, our planner can put a link on there to the county website and put a map showing where that exactly is located, and then maybe an additional link that if they want more information, it'll direct them to the county site. So give us a little bit of time. We're still in the process of moving, but I think we can put something together.
Well, I just as it moves down the line, it would be nice, when you're going on there, because trying to visualize once you get out of the city for a lot of people is
Right.
They don't really have any idea.
It'd be a good opportunity also to keep the public aware when public meetings are, public hearings, and those types of things. So.
Very good. Well, with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.